Are you looking to join Cycling Men of Leisure for one of our rides in 2025? We've got a few things on our schedule.
That's right. We'll be attending Big Brag and also the Bourbon Country Burn.
Big Brag is in Georgia and Bourbon Country Burn's in Kentucky. Both places are going to be absolutely beautiful. We're going to have teams for both of those events. If you're looking to join us on our team, just send us a message. We'll tell you what to do.
So come on out. It's going to be a good time.
Absolutely.
Well, it's time for Road Adventures with Cycling Men of Leisure, the podcast for cyclists who understand that riding is not just about getting to the destination, but the experience along the way. Now, here are the original Cycling Men of Leisure, Adam and Michael.
Hey, good to be with you.
Happy to be with you, and we're in sunny Florida.
Oh, man, look at the palm trees.
I can look right out here literally, and there's big old palm trees out there, a little bit of breeze, 82 degrees.
And to our wives, do not kill us. Do not kill us.
Oh, if our wives are listening, it's 50 degrees and there's really bad squalls going on right now. And I'm worried about the lightning.
Oh, it's so cold.
Gigs up.
All right. All right. So I thought we could have a discussion today.
We can discuss something. Absolutely.
All right. So what I'd love to discuss is charters.
Oh, fishing charters are right down there we went by them last night on the way to a restaurant.
No, I was more thinking of cycling charters.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay.
So you and I this year are doing 3 big rides, and all 3 of those big rides have charter services. If anyone is interested in those 3 rides, it is the Bourbon Country Burn, RAGBRAI,
Yep,
and Brag.
Yes, bike ride across Georgia, bike ride across Iowa, bike ride through
beautiful Kentucky.
Bourbon Country.
Bourbon Country. I like that better. So what is a bicycle charter? I got my stuff packed. I'm ready to go. And I got the bicycle, helmet, shoes. I've got...
Don't forget the shoes.
Oh, don't do that.
No.
And then now I'm heading out and I'm hearing all this about a charter.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, this is very good time to be talking about it. A lot of chatter on several different sites and several different rides about charters. So, let's get into it. You're headed out. What do you do now? There's a couple of ways you can go about it.
Okay.
You can either start from the starting town, which is generally on the west part of the state, or you can go to the end town, which typically is on the east side of the state. And there's pros and cons to both. And one way or the other, you have to get your bicycle yourself and your gear one way or the other, either before the ride or at the end of the ride.
Okay.
So a lot of these charter services out there just will offer, in addition to the different camping and stuff, they'll offer transportation services. What we generally do is we generally start at the end, drive to the ending town, park our cars, get on a charter bus, get our bikes on a charter bus, and then go to the starting town. I've always been a big fan of that. And a lot of people have asked me, why are you doing it that way? You know, it seems like a lot of extra work. Well, because after 7 days of cycling, the last thing I want to do is get on a bus and drive 4 hours or 3.5 or 5 or whatever it takes, and then get in my car and drive home.
How come we don't take the Cycling Men of Leisure Learjet?
It's still in the shop.
Oh, okay.
We're working on the stenciling for the wings and things. So,
okay.
Yeah. So you've got to go one way or the other. I prefer to do it. I know a lot of other people do it at the end. I just, I'm always worried the guy sitting next to me didn't take a shower after his ride, and I'm sitting there.
Yeah, we've had friends who've done it, the other way, which is starting in the or parking in the start town and then taking the shuttle back. And later on, we'll talk to those friends, and they'll say, "Oh, why did I do it that way?"
Yeah.
So Okay.
Personal preference, though.
Well, it is personal preference, depending, and also could be a geographical choice
Absolutely could be.
based upon where you're at. So, okay. So, charter is transportation.
Yeah, there's a way to, the way I kind of categorize charters is, well, first off, let me back up. I get the sense off of the websites and things that I've been reading, Facebook posts and stuff, that a lot of the newer people who haven't done these rides kind of feel like a charter is needed.
Is it?
I have to have a charter.
Is it needed?
It's not needed. You could, on any of these rides, a charter is not needed. For instance, like we'll use RAGBRAI as an example, even though we've seen charters at, Bran and Bourbon Country Burn and Bragg and all these other rides. Most of them now are offering some types of charter services through various companies, but these charters are available on multitudes of rides. I'm going to use RAGBRAI as an example here.
Okay.
Just to keep it simple. RAGBRAI, as a part of your registration, you are given the opportunity to have a campsite. RAGBRAI will determine where kind of the RAGBRAI general camping area is.
Okay.
They will also have baggage service from one location to the next. And typically there, I think you're limited to one bag, and it's 40 to 50 pounds.
Okay.
And last time I was around one of those, they did actually have a scale, so I think they do keep you honest on that.
Scale for the rider or scale for the bag?
You use it for either, but they're more concerned with the bag.
Okay.
So if you did not do a charter, or if you did not get in and you're worried, oh my gosh, I don't have a charter, I can't ride, you can ride. Your baggage will get there. When you come into town, there will be signs telling you where all these different charter services is and where the campground is for just the general Bragg people.
Okay.
They will also generally have porta-johns there in a close proximity. Now, one thing you may not be right next to a shower.
Is showering important? Just kidding.
It is if I'm sitting on a bus with you.
Fair enough.
So you may have to, walk a couple blocks to a high school or take a shuttle bus.
Okay.
But certainly doable. Really, when you're looking at charters, what you have to look at is what type of riding experience do you want? And
do you have any Grey Poupon?
Of course I do. Yeah. And the next thing is, how much do you want to spend?
Okay.
It's a lot like a hotel. You've got your very basic up to your very expensive. And as the price goes up, your amenities go up. So,
like the Holodome.
Oh, I love the Holodome. We used to go there as a kid. It was so fun. My parents would take me and my sister, mom and dad would all pack up and go to the Holodome for like a long weekend and swim. And they had the little indoor putt-putt golf.
Like indoor shuffleboard and all kinds of stuff.
And we would go like in February when it was like super cold outside.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was ice and snow outside, but you were in the oasis.
I was in the Holodome. But
when I was a kid, my parents would do like 4th of July, forgive me, New Year's Eve parties, and they would be like, oh, we'll rent this for the Holodome. So you kids play down here and we'll go out and have a good time. So
there you go.
Hey, we're all still here today, so good enough.
But like hotels, a lot depends on what kind of experience, like I said, that you want and how much you're willing to pay. I kind of break them out into 4 different categories.
Okay.
The first one you have is transportation only.
Ooh, I'm in.
You're a transportation guy. But, and those are going to be the companies for like RAGBRAI. I know there's one in Chicago, one in the Twin Cities, which you'll meet there. They'll put you on a bus. They'll drive you to the starting town. At the end of the ride, they're there to meet you. They'll pack up put your bike on a truck, put you in a charter bus and take you home.
Right.
So those are a good option if you're in an area where that's available. Generally, those are going to be, like I said, Chicago, Twin Cities, high population type places where those would be available.
Perfect. Okay. So I got to ride back and forth, but now.
Well, and let me also say the ride back and forth is extra. You do pay for that separate of your regular charter.
I assume that. I hope,
okay.
But now I get a ride to, hypothetically, if I get a charter to the starting location.
Yes.
I've got my bike.
Mm-hmm.
I've got my helmet and my shoes and my bag and everything else. And then what?
Well, then it all depends upon what charter service you have. I've divided these into basically, after transport, 3 basic levels. And I call it comfort, and you got comfort plus, and then you got glam camping. Yeah, you want a glam camp.
I was going to ask you which one had bottle service. On behalf of Adam
and Michael,
we both want to say thank you
for your support. That would be an awesome idea. We're trademarking that right now. Cycling Men of Leisure bottling service on biking events.
Ooh.
Yes.
Then I could pick which. Okay, never mind. I'm sorry.
We'll figure the logistics out later.
Get the train back on the track, Adam.
That's right. So comfort is going to be kind of that basic level provided by some third party. What you're going to get for that is they'll have a designated campsite somewhere. It's a park, school ground, something like that. And they'll have the little signs of the placards as you're coming into town, and you just follow the signs, and they'll have big flags up and things like that. So you'll know that that's your campsite. When you get there, all of your luggage and stuff will be laid out next to the truck, and you'll come in and pick up your gear and go claim a spot and set up your tent. They'll also have some type of community tent, like a large, kind of circus type tent, not quite that big, but with chairs and that type of stuff. They'll have beverage service for purchase, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic. A lot of times they'll have fans or misters, and typically there's a person there on staff who will answer questions, who's pretty familiar with the town. A lot of times they'll have maps. They'll be able to direct you to where the shuttle buses are, things of that nature.
Okay. So I go to my charter, and they've got a map of saying that hypothetically, if you are using RAGBRAI as your example, the expo is downtown. Mm-hmm. I catch the red line to go downtown. The shuttle maps are all there. Come back. I've set up my area to sleep in the morning. I pack everything up. I'm ready to ride. What do I do with my stuff?
Okay, good question. What you'll need to do with your stuff is each charter typically has a different time. And I don't know, it's generally like 9 o'clock, 8:30, something like that, that you will need to have your gear torn down. And unlike this comfort type thing, the Comfort Plus, you'll have to move your gear from wherever you were camping over to their trucks.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so you'll have your bag and your tent and all that, and you'll take it over and hand it to some, kid on a truck, and he will be, stacking it in the U-Haul or the moving vans, that type of thing. And then once that's done, you can get on your bike and go. Now, the Comfort is typically going to have a lot of porta-johns right there at your campsite. So the only thing you might run into is the shower facilities.
Okay.
Typically, you would have to use another, like charter's shower facilities, or you would have to hike to a school or hop on a shuttle bus.
So I ride my bike during the day, whether it's Bragg or Bourbon Country Burn. I go out on the route for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm back, and I'm in camp to the location of the overnight town or the stopping location, and I look for my bag in the big row of bags.
Mm-hmm.
And then I pick out my bag. I go set up my camp area. Everything's cool. I go take a shower. And then,
Wait. You set up your camp area. What about mine?
Okay.
Hello.
All right, fine. I set up your camp area too. Actually, to credit to my wife, who was our support driver in 2018, we would come in and the camp would be all set up.
Yes, she did a fantastic job.
So you set up your camp area. I set up your camp area.
Thank you.
And then go take a shower, go find something to eat. In the morning, just repeat.
Yep, exactly. Repeat. Have your stuff there, put it there, have your bike, get ready, get on your bike and go.
Okay. So, and then in these camp areas, we can. I mean, I know I've obviously done it, but I'm trying to help anyone, our listeners, never use the charter. But then there's like sunshade pavilion areas that they bring.
Yeah, they've got like a big community tent and chairs where you can just like hang out there and chit chat.
Okay.
Then, and if you wanted to move, like say up a level, you've got like what I call the Comfort Plus, which gives you everything that you've got kind of on the comfort level. But typically the Comfort Plus is going to add, will typically have their own shower truck, which means that the shower will be right there, very close to camp. And then what they'll also typically add is they typically will add 1 or 2 or 3 events in the evening throughout the week for you to enjoy. You know, I know we've participated in like ice cream socials, and sometimes they bring in music, live music, guitar players, things like that. Just to give you something different to do if you decide you don't want to go down and listen to the entertainment or go downtown or whatever.
And last year, our charter provided dinner one night.
They did provide dinner one night. So like I said, it really depends upon what you're looking for. And then you've got kind of the glam camping.
Okay.
And those are going to be the ones that really have everything that I've just described, but add extra stuff to that. Typically, they'll have a couple of food trucks or vendors there. They will typically have some type of bar service there. And every night they will typically have music, that type of thing. These are really set up around kind of a community feel. We've been to a couple of them.
Yeah. And
you kind of walk in there and it kind of feels like you're in a mix between your suburb at home and like the county fair type thing. Everybody just kind of mixes and mingles and it's really that, I guess community is really the way to put it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of that depends because if you're really looking for that community feel, then that's going to maybe be something you want to look at too, is that level where everything is right there. You never have to, at night, if you don't want to go downtown or leave your camp, you can stay right there. You can eat, you can get beverages, you get some entertainment, and you don't have to go anywhere. After, if you go lower than that, well, then, you're going to have to maybe hike a little bit or take a shuttle to downtown to get some food and that type of thing. So,
right.
The other thing, which then takes kind of that glam camp to the very pinnacle of camping, is the bunkhouses.
Yeah.
And several charters offer that with their charters. And then some companies just do these on their own. I mean, they just bring in bunkhouses. There's like 7 of them on a big semi-trailer. And what you do is you walk up the stairs, you got a little door, you go in, there's 2 bunk beds, there's a fold down table. It's not big, but it's inside. You're completely, protected against the rain, the elements, and there's an air conditioner.
That's not a bad thing to have at RAGBRAI.
No. Now, you do pay for that. So, keep that in mind. Yeah, you got to pay a little bit more for that service. The other thing that you get with a lot of the glam camping is tent service.
Okay.
Which would be really good if you're a person who doesn't own a tent, but you'd like to camp in a tent and you're looking at the price of a nice tent. Maybe this would be for you. You could just rent a tent. And then some services, they'll actually set that tent up for you and actually have porter services where your bags are waiting for you in whatever tent number you are.
And we've talked to many people who've done that, like Tent City, and they've said that, you go into the tent and then some of those people even brought like little mini vacuum cleaners because people have used them the night before and stuff.
And that might be the one negative thing I've heard about it.
Yeah.
Is they just set up tents and they're just, they just number them. You don't get your same tent every single night. So if somebody was in there and had a lot of dirt or sand or that kind of stuff, they'll bring in like a little, battery operated vacuum, like you said, or a little, broom or something to sweep it out. So that's really the negative thing that I've heard with those.
My luxury item to RAGBRAI would not be a Hoover.
No.
It would be my golf clubs.
Good luck carrying those.
All right.
The other thing I will say about the charters is once you get into charters over just the RAGBRAI's basic service, is they tend to increase your weight limits a little bit.
Yeah, you can bring a second bag sometimes.
You can bring a second bag, and sometimes it's 60, sometimes it's 75 pounds. They each have their own kind of limitations there. So that's another thing to consider too, that you might have to think about when you're doing it. Because let me tell you, 50 pounds for me, 40 or 50 pounds in one bag, I would have to slim down my stuff a little bit. I mean, it can be done, but I would have to cut back what I typically bring. 2
bottles of Woodford, about 5 pounds. I can buy some more along the way. Oh, I'm sorry. You guys are actually talking about camping gear.
Yes. So.
No, I mean, it is difficult. I've actually watched some posts on RAGBRAI where people are literally dumping things out, clothes that, so they can have their bag under a certain weight. And it reminds me of being at the airport and them saying, I'm sorry, that bag weighs too much. Can you take out a couple things and put it in your carry-on? And I'm always thinking, isn't it going to weigh the same on the same planes? But
got the same amount of weight on the plane.
And of course, one of my coworkers says, yeah, but union says the guy doesn't have to lift it. You have to lift it. And I'm like, okay, good enough. Okay, so I can have a choice of a charter. I mean, if I choose to have a charter and pay for it. Some of the things that we've done, rides that we've done, have actually indoor camping as well.
Yes.
And so that was actually really cool. Last year, we did that at Bragg, which we actually signed up for that again this year. Mm-hmm. And so that's interesting. But do I need to have a charter?
You don't need a charter.
No.
Again, it's all about what kind of experience do you want. I know everybody's freaking out because of the numbers that have registered. A lot of the RAGBRAI charters are sold out. People are on waiting list. You can still go and have a great time at RAGBRAI without a charter. Because, like I said, with your registration, you get the basic baggage service. You'll have a place to camp, all that type of thing.
Okay. So I've got my bike. I've got my charter. I've got some souvenirs along the way. And then if I've chosen to take the ride at the beginning, I get to my car, I go home, I've had a successful trip. But if I chose the transportation the opposite way, now I'm done. I pack up my bag, I pack up my bike somehow, whatever the requirements are. I now get on the motor coach or some sort of shuttle, and I go to the beginning.
Yes.
Cool.
Now, the other question that comes up, and you've heard this a lot, is about the bikes. How does my bike get there? I don't want it scratched. I don't want it beat up. I don't want it dinged up. I talked with one person that thought that they had to box it up. And most charter services do not require you to box up your bike. Either cardboard or hard side boxes like this. Nowadays, what you see, I haven't seen anybody not do it. They'll have like the big blue packing blankets, and they'll put the bike in, and each bike gets a packing blanket over it, and then they'll pack the next one in, make sure nothing's rubbing. I've never had any damage done to my bikes, and all the rides that I've done, they typically do a pretty good job because they understand that most of these things are pretty expensive. So
actually, I'll never forget our first time using a charter and seeing all the, forgive me, but U-Haul moving blankets. And someone behind me said, well, I hope no one's actually moving this today because there's all the blankets to protect all the antiques. So,
not in Iowa.
They had them all right there. So, all right, well, cool. Well, listen, I mean, one of the main reasons I really wanted to talk about charters was with the announcement of the route announcement for RAGBRAI and the 50th running of it. I am watching people go crazy about charters, and they're filling up. And do I need a charter? And I just thought this was perfect timing to get something out about charters.
No, I think you're right. And like I said, you don't need a charter. You can have just as good of experience. But if you're one of those people that, are trying to convince your significant other that they should go on this ride and they don't really like to camp, and you're trying to get them into like a bunkhouse or something, which don't mention that to my wife because she'll wonder why I haven't brought that up before. It may be tough getting in that on like RAGBRAI. But like I said, nowadays, most rides have charter services. I know when I started in 2002 doing like the bike ride across Nebraska, I mean, you just stayed in our local high schools. And I know for the last several years, they've had charter services there for you to kind of do that. So.
Cool. All right. So we really hope this information helps someone out who's considering thinking about whether they need a charter or not, whether they should be panicking or not. So you can do it without. If you want more luxury items or more amenities, then you can choose to do that. I do know there's some charter availability still for RAGBRAI. And I also know that there's charter availability with Bragg to do RAGBRAI. So,
yeah, they do some charter service, don't they?
So, if you're still searching, I recommend get out there and take a look for yourself. Many people have some information on their website. Like I know RAGBRAI has a whole page devoted to charters.
They've got, I think, 17 official charters
for
RAGBRAI. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Now, 2 of those charters are the transportation-only type charters. So.
Okay, cool.
But, check those out. I know some of the more well-known charters, they're putting people on wait list. And, if you really, really wanted a charter, I would say go ahead and get yourself on the wait list because you never know. A lot of people have to change their plans due to, situations and things like that. So there's still a chance that
darn job usually gets in the way.
I thought I had vacation. Come on.
Well, actually, truth be told, not to bring up a negative part in your life, but sir, you were in that shoes. Not sure if you could go on the ride or not.
Last year. Yeah. Wow.
Hey, but you know what? Look at you now.
Yeah,
look at you now. So, all right. Well, cool. Well, I appreciate the conversation today. Hope this helps out some of our subscribers. And anything else that you'd have to add?
Well, the one thing I wanted to throw out there is, a lot of people ask us these questions. We occasionally get texts and things like that. If people have questions they'd like us to answer, drop us a note on our Facebook page, that type of thing. And if there's subjects that you're, hey, I'd really like to know about this. I know we're planning on doing an episode here in a couple months on packing your bike and putting it on an airplane.
Right.
But if anybody out there has some topics around cycling that they would like us to look into, shoot us a message and we'll put something together on that. Yeah,
we're definitely monitoring our Facebook page a lot. That's how we're getting a lot of the information out and a lot of the episodes out to people. I agree. Send us a private message and something you might want to hear about.
And just to do a little plug, we've got some really good episodes coming up.
We do.
And so I would definitely check those out because we've got some guests coming in that we've interviewed. So there should be some good ones coming down the pike.
Definitely agree. All right. Well, thank you for your time. And you know what today is?
Here in Tampa, it's a really good day for a bike ride.
Yes, it is. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for coming along with Adam and Michael on Road Adventures with Cycling Men of Leisure. If you have enjoyed this, please subscribe to the show on the podcast app of your choice.
Hey, we just wanted to remind you that we've got some really cool products at our jersey and our swag store.
That's right. You can visit cyclingmenofleisure.com. At the top of the page, you'll find our stores page. Click there. There's 2 QR codes. The one on the left has a J on it. That's the store for the jerseys. The one on the right is just a swag store. Has all kinds of different items. Kind of customizable. You can kind of make the swag the way you want it. If the QR codes are giving you an issue, don't worry. Underneath, there's 2 buttons that you can click on. Thank you, and have a great day.